I'm looking forward to this.
Yes. We have talked to him. I visited with him about a year ago, too, during spring break, and it was just a joy for me.
Certain interactions, whether it's texting or it's conversation, whatever it is, it could be a phone conversation, it could be in person, are uplifting. I feel like my texting interaction with Doug Collins gives me a boost when it happens.
Yes, and I was so happy to see the tweets from the Bulls and the social media posts that he did get into the Hall of Fame. This is long overdue. He was just elected into the Hall of Fame over the weekend. Let's bring him in on the CarX Tire and Auto Hotline. He is a Hall of Famer. He is Doug Collins, and he joins Waddle and Silvy on ESPN 1000. Doug, it is so great to use those words, Hall of Fame, next to your name. Congratulations.
Oh, guys, thank you so much. It was an amazing weekend to go and spend about 36 hours because it was out in Arizona here where I'm at right now, but to go and the feeling you got, that I got of walking in the room, that you go in and you get measured for your ring and your jacket and you sign these balls and, you know, it starts to hit you like, wow, this is pretty amazing. And then Vince Carter walks in and Chauncey Billups and Michael Cooper from the Lakers, and we're just standing there. And, you know, guys, basketball's been my life since I was a little kid, and it's taken me to places that I can't imagine. As a player, as an Olympian, as a coach, as a broadcaster, and it's just been an amazing ride. And, you know, Silvy, when I saw you in Arizona last year, we were out with you and your beautiful wife and your two boys, and you're talking about the Hall of Fame, and I know how you guys have been pushing me, and I said, if you can get me in, I promise you I'll be the first one on your radio show. So I could not wait to talk to you guys today.
Doug, you know how badly we wanted it for you. Did you feel that after all that you accomplished, you were the #1 overall pick, you were a hell of a player, you were a great coach, you were the best analyst, you were an Olympian. Did you feel that your career needed to be validated by getting into the Hall of Fame?
I did. In fact, when I got the call from guys, it was really neat. We were supposed to, you know, everybody was getting the call on April 1, which is April Fool's Day. So everybody was talking about, please, if you call me, you know, then don't call me back an hour later and say that was just a joke. So, but you're set up. They gave you a time. We're going to call you between 12 and 2 Eastern time, and it's Jerry Colangelo is the one that makes the call. But this was really, really neat. On Sunday evening, Easter Sunday, about 10 o'clock at night out here in Arizona, I never take my phone by my bed, and for whatever reason I did, and I looked down, and there was a text message from Jerry Reinsdorf, and he said, "Are you still up?" And so I'm going, oh, he's calling me to let me know that I'm probably not going to get in tomorrow, and sort of let me down easy and stuff. So I called him. We started talking, and I said, you know, I'm sorry about the Sox. They lost 3-1 run games to Detroit, and he was worried they were getting ready to play Atlanta. And all we talked about 5 minutes. And then, by the way, he goes, Jerry Colangelo knows how close I am to you and how dear we are together. And he said he wanted me to make the call to you to let you know that you're going in the Hall of Fame.
Wow.
And I said, Jerry, isn't this amazing that in 1989, the man who fires me in 2024 is the man who calls me up and lets me know I'm in the Hall of Fame on Christian's High Holy Day, Easter Sunday. I mean, only you could make that up in a movie somewhere, and it was wonderful.
Such a great moment. Doug, when you did you have a specific memory or even a thought of a person or an event or a moment? What was the first thing that went through your mind when you realized you had been inducted into the Hall of Fame?
How proud my high school coach would have been of me. How proud. He, Tommy, I think people think that I was this phenom when I was young. And when I told my story a little bit the other night at dinner, I didn't start on my high school team till I was a senior. Silvy knows down in that area, down at Carbondale. We were in the South 7 Conference. I mean, Benton, West Frankfort, Heron, Marion, Centralia, Mount Vernon. I mean, these were all great basketball schools. And my high school coach was so ahead of his time. We were doing Russian plyometric training. We would do all these drills to get stronger and faster and quicker, so we could compete with the tremendous athletes in the South 7. And so I don't think I'm in the top 25 of my high school scores, the all-time scores at my high school. I don't think I'm in the top 25 because I didn't start till I was a senior, and I really didn't start getting recruited till after my senior year was over, when some of the people started coming in. So my high school coach, that's who I wanted to be, Rich Heron. And you know him, Silvy, because he left Benton and he went to SIU and he won 3 Missouri Valley championships in a row, was a great coach there and all. But he was just the guy that I wanted to be. I would go ride in the car with him when he would scout games. I said, Coach, can I go with you? We just spent as much time as I could humanly possibly spend with him. And I just, to me, he's the guy who lit the spark that started me believing that I could be something special.
Doug, of all of the great accomplishments, what are you most proud of? Whether it is as a player, a coach, a broadcaster, whatever, maybe as a parent, whatever it is, what are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of that I was not only an All-American on the court, but I was the first-team academic All-American. And I think you guys would enjoy this story. But at the end of my junior year, Herb Rudoy, who was a great agent and just a dear friend of mine, he's Chris's godfather, and he came down to Illinois State, and he had a meeting with me and the athletic director, Milt Weisbecker, who was another man that was so important in my life. But he said, the Chicago Bulls want to draft you, and this is the contract they're preparing to give you. If you'll go in the draft early, they'll draft you because they want you to be the heir apparent to Jerry Sloan. Well, I mean, obviously, Jerry Sloan was my boyhood hero because he grew up in McLeansboro. I grew up in Benton, so it was about 25 miles apart, and he was older. So, I mean, I watched his high school career. So Herb talked to me for a while. It was spring break. I got in the car with my best friend, Don Frankie, who had a Corvette. We drove all night down to Daytona Beach. All we did was talk about, should I go in the draft? Should I go in the draft? Just talked about it. We talked about it. I came back, and I said, I'm going to stay in school because I want to make the Olympic team. Wow. And Herb was trying to talk me, and, well, you might want to do this. I said, I want to test myself against the best. I want to make the Olympic team. So I was fortunate enough to make the Olympic team. Everybody knows the nightmare that ended up to be. But, guys, I stayed an extra year in school. I loved school. I got my degree. And had I left early, the court would not be named after me. My jersey would not be in the rafter. And there would not be a statue of me and my college coach in front of the arena. And it was a statue of a love story. It's this white kid from Southern Illinois who meets this black man from Detroit, Michigan, who looks at me and lets me know that if I will trust him, he will get me where I want to go. And so I would have lost all that. So that decision I made to stay in school, I'm so thankful I did that.
Yeah. It's amazing. We're talking to Doug Collins, who was elected into the Hall of Fame over the weekend. It's Waddle and Silvy on ESPN 1000. Who did you hear from, Doug, on the phone after this was publicized?
Well, they tried to keep it quiet. They said, we don't mind you telling your family, but, with social media, they wanted to be able to have this weekend be somewhat special. But, guys, when something starts getting out, it's hard now in the era of social media to keep it quiet. But I really I really didn't talk much during the week because I sort of wanted to stay away from. But I think probably the guys, if you could get on the, it's hard for me to say, but if you could get on Facebook and read my daughter, the post she had of me and my son, that's the most important. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
It's fabulous.
We
It's
know
one of
how
the
much.
things. It's one of the things I think we love most about you, Doug. Not just all of your accomplishments, but like how much passion you have, not just for the sport, but your family as well. And I was going to ask you the range of emotions that you go through watching Chris go through a game as he's coaching Northwestern.
Oh boy. You know, the one thing you guys know is that, Chris, I'm so proud of him. And, you know, every game he goes into, if he's going to win, it's going to be a really, really close game. But I'm just really, guys, if you could take a snapshot of Chris's press conference and take a look at the facilities at Northwestern and who Northwestern was in basketball and what their reputation was. And for Chris to come in, and guys, I think I've told you this before, but I wasn't sure I wanted him to take the job. I said, Chris, you know, when you were playing here, Mr. Basketball, you never even thought about going to Northwestern. And I said, you've had great coaches who've gone there and who've died. I don't mean literally, but I mean their careers have flamed out. And he said to me, he said, Dad, I want to blaze my own trail. And I said, okay, I'll do my best to help you. The first few years, I spent more time with him as he was getting settled in. But if you go back there now, and Sylvie, you've been there. Tommy, I'm not sure you've been to a game there. They have this beautiful arena, this beautiful practice facility. And this year was amazing. Boo Booey and the team, I mean, they lit up this campus. And to go to the games, they have this beautiful Wilson Club. It's just a spectacular night. And for me to look at that, and I go, you know, Chris is blazing his own trail. And you know what? There was a lot of heartache along the way. He had a lot of 10-game losing streaks, 13-game losing streaks, and you know, I just kept trying to love him through it. And to see where they are today is just an amazing thing. And Tommy, if you haven't been out there, man, try to get out there to definitely a game next year because it is a fun evening.
Doug, as we talked to Doug Collins, it's Waddle and Silvy on ESPN 1000. The anniversary, and I always text you on the anniversary of the shot because I always were like, I have two great memories, and I always tell you that I was working in Sport Mart as a shoe salesman as a senior at Niles North, and I went into the break room, and I got yelled at by my boss because I was yelling. And the two memories I have is, of course, the shot of Michael hitting the shot, and of course you running crazy all over the court.
I lost my mind.
Yeah, looking for someone to hug like Jimmy V did.
I was like Jimmy Valvano.
Yes. So for our younger audience and for those who are of our age who remember it, what do you remember of that spring day in Cleveland in 1989, 35 years ago it will be, coming up here? What do you remember of that game and of that iconic shot?
Well, let me just set up the series for you. So the last game of the season that year, we played Cleveland. They did not play three of their starters, and they beat us. We were 0-6 against them going into the playoffs. And so I thought our preparation was really spot on, and we were ready to go. And so we went to Cleveland. We went game one. Mark Price doesn't play. Then they win game two. We win game three. Now with game four, we got a chance to win the game. And Michael misses 2 of 4 free throws late in the game. Brad Daugherty gets fouled. He makes 2 free throws, send the game into overtime. They beat us. Now we got to go back there for game 5. So Saturday we're flying to Cleveland and that's the day of the Kentucky Derby. And so we got to the hotel, and we were checking in, and I said to somebody, who won the Kentucky Derby today? And they said, Sunday Silence. I said, okay. So as we were getting ready to check in, I stopped the guy and said, guys, I just want to say something to you. The Kentucky Derby winner today was Sunday Silence. That's what it's going to be like tomorrow in Cleveland when we beat them. And Michael hit that shot, and it went Sunday Silence in Cleveland. But what it meant to me was how important it was to win that series, to move on. But I thought, guys, that Michael's shot, I thought that was the beginning of the Chicago Bulls that were starting to be ready to be champions. That's what I thought that meant. And we took that momentum. We went to game one. We beat New York. And then we won that series in game 6. And if you remember correctly, Silvy, we were up 4. And late in the game, I think maybe under 20 seconds, something along those lines, we're at a timeout. And I said, guys, we're up 4, whatever. You know, let's no fouls. You know, just we're in position. We got a 2-possession lead here, whatever. So New York runs a play. Trent Tucker goes up to shoot a shot, and Patrick Ewing hip checks. I forget who it was, into Trent Tucker. He makes the shot,
Oh, yeah.
a 4-point play, and now we're tied. So I took a timeout and went to the timeout. I think it was 9 seconds to go, something like that. New York had no timeouts left. And I said, Michael, don't shoot a jump shot. I said, the referees know they just missed that call. Drive the ball to the basket and put the pressure on him to call a foul. He did. He made the 2 free throws. We win that series. We get on a plane the next day. We fly to Detroit, and we win the first series of that game, get 3-2. That was the infamous get the ball to Michael and get out of the way kind of game when we went up 2-1. But, guys, I just when I think about it, I start getting excited because it was such a wonderful time. And, guys, you know that there's nothing like the city of Chicago, whether it be hockey or whether it be basketball, in the spring, during the playoffs, walking up and down Michigan Avenue. Yep. There's no better place to be.
Amen to that.
Doug, we can't tell you how much you mean to us and how important it was to talk to you and how important it was to see you get into the Hall of Fame.
To congratulate you.
And the friendship, more importantly than all of that. So thank you. Congratulations. And we can't wait to watch you get inducted into the Naismith Hall of Fame. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Doug.
I just want to say one last thing before we go. I know you got to get the commercial, but, you know, Tommy and Silvy, you know, it's not the games that are important. It's the friends and the people that you do with along the way. And you guys are dear friends. And I thank you for my support that you've given me and for Chris and my family. And God bless both of you. And Silvy, I am so happy you're healthy.
And it meant the world, all those text messages that you would send me during my battle. Doug, you're the best. All the best
God
to
bless
you and your family.
Thank you, Doug. Be well.
See you guys.
There he is, Doug Collins. I love Doug Collins. Always have.
Very uplifting person.
Yes. Yeah, it was great
Congrats
stuff there.
to him as well.
Yes.
Much deserved.